everybody, JenniferMaker here. It's a beautiful day to make some heat transfer vinyl t-shirts together. And while we make them, I'll show you 21 super important tips and steps to avoid common mistakes with heat transfer vinyl. All the things you want to not do. One of the first things to know about heat transfer vinyl is that it is also known as HTV or iron-on vinyl. Just know that if you hear someone say iron-on vinyl, or it is the same as heat transfer vinyl and the same as HTV. Now, most of the HTV mistakes I see and that I've made are related to the way it's cut and applied, but I'll show you how to avoid them all while we make these fun food t-shirts. I'm going to use Cricut's Everyday Iron-On vinyl for most of my t-shirt layers, along with some of the glitter HTV for added sparkle. There are some common mistakes when it comes to combining different types of HTV, so we'll talk about those when we discuss planning your layers. But part of the fun is picking your own colors and types, so get creative once we've covered the basics. There are so many different kinds of iron-on vinyl available, like patterns, shiny foils, glow-in-the-dark, and even printable options. You can use any you like once you know how to cut and apply them. There are also differences between different kinds of HTV, like the best cut settings, pressing temperatures, and which base materials they bond correctly to. Now, I'm putting my designs onto white cotton t-shirts, but you can of course try other kinds. Just make sure the fabric is compatible with your vinyl choices. My HTV cookbook is a great way to keep it all straight because I put everything in one easy reference for you. I'm using a Cricut Maker 3 cutting machine to cut everything today, but you can cut HTV on any Cricut or cutting machine as long as the design fits on your mat. The material works perfectly on green standard grip mats. We'll go over some common weeding mistakes too, so have your weeding tool at the ready. And I'll show you how to use my t-shirt guides to get perfect alignment. You can make your own with the free file available at JenniferMaker.com/433. And of course, you'll need heat to activate the heat transfer vinyl. I'm using a Cricut Easy Press 3 with a pressing mat and some butcher paper, but you can also use another flat heat press like the Cricut Auto Press, which handles the pressure for you. So if you're having trouble using a handheld press, an auto press is worth considering. If you don't have either of those, you can use a normal household iron too. And you should always check the manufacturer's instructions for the heating details, but layering does change things a bit, especially for the lower layers. I'll follow notes from my HTV cookbook to help you avoid overheating the vinyl. Are you ready to pick up some new tips? Let me show you where to get these free fun food designs, and we will get started with our shirts and tips. Step 1, get my free HTV t-shirt designs. First, download my t-shirt designs at JenniferMaker.com/575. You can either download right from that link by saving the project, or download from my entire free design collection. To find it, look for Libraries in the red bar at the top, and then click either Get a Password if you don't yet have one, or click Enter the library. Search the page for design number 575 and click the link to download the designs. If you're not sure how to download, go to JenniferMaker.com/svgs to learn how to download, unzip, and upload SVG files. In the SVG folder, there are some fun food designs for you. There's coffee, pizza, and a taco. I'm also going to use one of my t-shirt rulers, so I recommend making one using the free designs and tutorial at JenniferMaker.com/433. I'll use a Cricut Maker 3 cutting machine in this video, but you can use any cutting machine that accepts SVG or DXF cut files. Step 2, customize and cut your HTV design. First, open Cricut Design Space. Start a blank canvas and click Upload, find the SVG you want, and then add it to your canvas. I'll make the coffee shirt and add a name. HTV mistake number 1, don't guess on design sizing. Click Templates. You'll see there's baseball shirts, polos, and much more. but we want V-neck t-shirts. So click that to add the template to your canvas. Then pick your shirt type and size. I'm using a medium women's short sleeve t-shirt. And don't worry, the guide won't be part of the design. It's just here to use as a template. Drag the design onto the chest area. Then keep the size lock icon closed up at the top and adjust the dimensions if you want. Keeping the size lock icon closed means you'll maintain proportions when you resize it. I'll make the width 10 inches. If you're making another size, I have helpful sizing resources available in the project's blog post at JenniferMaker.com/575. HTV mistake number 2, don't cut without a plan. We'll apply the design starting with the bottom layer, so use the eye icons to hide the upper ones. This big heart will look nice in plain blush pink HTV. The little hearts are registration marks to help align your layers. I'll show you how to keep them from transferring to your t-shirt. Now reveal the next layer so you can see the designs interact. This layer overlaps the first one, so I'll use plain HTV in black. And see how the hearts change from pink to black? Each layer will have at least one to keep the design elements aligned during pressing. Now reveal the next layer, and this has details for the cup. I'll cut this from plain teal blue HTV. The little heart will help with alignment. Finally, reveal the last one, and this is a white section on black, plus a heart registration mark. I have white glitter HTV, and I want to add a name to the middle. HTV mistake number 3, don't assume every vinyl can be layered. Now it's important to know that you should not layer over normal glitter HTV. So to get around this, I'll slice the name and reveal it in black. To do this, click the text icon and type in a name. I'll make this shirt for my daughter Alexa. Then I'll click font to change the look of it. HTV mistake number 4, don't pick a tough font. You'll need to weed these letters, so use the filters to find something easy to weed. Check single layer cutting to avoid layering. Check kerned so the letters are nicely spaced. And then check free to avoid having it cost money, unless of course you don't mind. Still, I also want you to avoid really delicate or thin options that will be hard to weed or read. I've added my cute, easy to weed option called JM Lemonade, so I'll look for that under System. You can get the link to this free font in the blog post at JenniferMaker.com/575. Now rotate and resize the text to fit the band on the cup. Then use the curve tool to match the shape. Hold the Shift key on your keyboard and select the text and the layer that you want to cut it out of, and then click Slice. Now delete the slice result layers with the text, leaving the lower layer customized. And since the little shapes inside letters will cut on the same layer as their outline, you won't need to stress over alignment. Just remember, if you were adding to the layer instead, you'd want to use Attach. HTV mistake number 5, don't forget to test. If you're trying a new HTV or using several layers, don't jump right to pressing the design. Instead, add a small shape to the canvas and use the color box to match it to the layer or layers. I'll make a 1-inch tall heart for each of the layers. Check that the correct machine is selected and then click Make. HTV mistake number 6, don't forget to mirror. The prepare screen is really important for HTV because you absolutely must remember to mirror every mat. Otherwise, the design will be backwards on your t-shirt. So make sure to toggle mirror on for each mat. When you're done, click the first mat and then click Continue. On the Make screen, set the material to match each mat. I'll use Everyday Iron-On for the plain mats and Glitter Iron-On for the white one, both with more pressure. Remember, if you're using a Cricut with a material dial, the Smart Dial, set it to Custom so you can see all of these options too. HTV mistake number 7, don't cut too deep. We want to cut through the vinyl while leaving the carrier sheet intact because we'll use it like transfer tape to place the design as one piece with the vinyl down. That's why we mirrored the layers. That means we need the carrier sheet face down on the green standard grip machine mat. But don't guess on which side is which. HTV mistake number 8, don't put the wrong side down. The carrier sheet is clear and often shinier than the vinyl's adhesive surface. But if you're not sure, you can't tell, use a weeding tool to scratch a corner on each side. The one that you can lift is the vinyl side, and that one needs to go up on your mat. And you can learn a lot more about this type of vinyl and the many things you can do with it in my HTV cookbook, which has all the times, temperatures, and pressures for making awesome HTV projects. You can get more details on that over at htvcookbook.com. HTV mistake number 9, don't waste material. Cut your vinyl slightly larger than the design area needed for each layer, instead of filling the whole mat. This will save you on materials. And place it shiny side down on the machine mat so it covers the design area. And then brayer it down well. And make sure your fine point blade is in the clamp, then load your mat in by pressing the flashing button. And then, once it's loaded, press the flashing middle button to start the cuts. HTV mistake number 10, don't assume the cut is done. Before unloading your mat, gently lift part of the material and see if the cut went through the vinyl, but not the carrier sheet. Incomplete cuts can make weeding hard. So if you have a problem, things don't seem to have cut properly, press the middle button again to run the design in the same spot if needed. When the cut is all done, you can unload the mat, flip your mat over onto your work surface, and roll the mat away from the vinyl to release it. And use the same steps to prepare and cut your other layers of HTV. HTV mistake number 11, don't cut apart your design. If you trim away more excess, don't cut completely between design elements or registration marks, or you'll lose the advantage of having everything on one sheet and in position. Place the vinyl carrier sheet side down on the machine mat again to keep it in place. Then use a weeding tool to remove the excess starting at the edges. HTV mistake number 12, don't rush weeding. Take your time and don't peel up part of the design by accident because they're tough to get back into position, though not completely impossible if you do it by accident. And don't forget to weed the letters correctly so the black layer will show through. And repeat for all layers of your iron-on vinyl design. Step 3, transfer your HTV design. HTV mistake number 13, don't forget to double check the design. Check your design by gently stacking the layers to make sure you weeded correctly and nothing is backward or missing or anything like that. Always check for manufacturer's instructions for general times and temperatures. But my HTV cookbook has lots of tips on working with layered designs, which does change the process a bit. I found that slightly decreasing the temperature for the lower layers minimizes the risk of overheating or overcooking the vinyl since they'll be pressed several times. So I'll preheat my Cricut Easy Press to 300 degrees Fahrenheit or 149 degrees Celsius instead of the recommended 315 degrees Fahrenheit or 157 degrees Celsius. And then set the time to 10 seconds to start. HTV mistake number 14, don't use steam. And if you're using a household iron and a cotton t-shirt, set it to the cotton setting but without steam. If your shirt is something other than cotton, use the matching setting, but still you want to avoid steam. HTV mistake number 15, don't forget your tests. In fact, follow these steps using the little test hearts that we cut separately on the arm or the inside lower hem and adjust your process as needed. I always recommend doing tests if this is your first time. HTV mistake number 16, don't skip fabric preparation. Place your t-shirt on a Cricut Easy Press mat or folded towel to protect your work surface. Now use a lint roller to remove any lint or fuzz or pet hair from the front of your shirt. Fold your shirt on the vertical center by matching up the sleeves. HTV mistake number 17, don't guess on placement. Use your heat press or your iron to lightly crease the fold. Now open up your shirt and you'll discover that there is a center line that lines up with the t-shirt guide. Plus, the fabric is now preheated and you remove the moisture, which is going to make for a better transfer. Now just place your t-shirt ruler just below the collar seam so the center mark matches the crease. Fold the non-sticky sides of your layered designs together vertically to find the center and lightly crease the top and bottom edges, but not the vinyl. Then open it and remove the bottom layer from the stack. Align the creases with the shirt and the ruler, vinyl side down. HTV mistake number 18, don't accidentally transfer registration marks. Check where your registration marks will land on your shirt. If you don't want them to transfer, put some heat-resistant tape on the fabric underneath. HTV mistake number 19, don't decorate your heat press. Now put butcher paper over the entire design to protect your press. It's good practice even on the first layer where there isn't any uncovered vinyl showing. Layering changes the pressing time too, so put your heat press on top of the design for just 3 seconds with light pressure to tack it down. If the design is larger than you press, use it in sections with a tiny overlap to make sure you press it all evenly for the correct time. Then peel the carrier sheet off the design while it's still warm, not hot, but warm, and save that carrier sheet for now. Large pieces like this can wrinkle a little bit. If they do, just turn it inside out, putting a pressing pillow covered with some butcher paper inside under the design, and move your heat press back and forth over it with heavy pressure for a few seconds to relax the vinyl. A 15-second press in the Cricut Auto Press will work too. You can gently pull the shirt from the sides while the material is warm as well. Now take your next layer and position it over the first, lining up the hearts with those on the shirt or tape. The bottom layer may have shrunk just a little bit. That's totally normal if it did. In fact, you should expect that it did that. And press it down with your hand so it won't move. If any of the first layer is uncovered, cut pieces of your discarded carrier sheet to protect it. Carefully slide the edges under those of the new layer to avoid pressing indents on the lower vinyl. And don't interfere with the element you're transferring though. Now heat the second layer for 3 seconds again with light pressure. If the carrier sheet doesn't peel off easily, replace it and the protective sheet, then press for a few more seconds to try again. Since the white layer has more vinyl, you might want to add it next, but it's better to press glitter last. So I'll use the plain teal since they don't overlap. Place the teal layer face down using the heart registration mark to help you align it. Protect the nearby vinyl with the excess carrier sheets or some butcher paper. Press it for 3 seconds with light pressure, then use a warm peel to remove the carrier sheet. And then position the last layer using the heart registration mark. Make sure it's secure, then add the butcher paper over the entire design. HTV mistake number 20, don't forget to press the last layer a little bit more. Now, since this is the last layer and it's glitter iron-on vinyl, we can press at 315 degrees Fahrenheit or 157 degrees Celsius for 15 seconds with medium pressure. Try to keep the heat concentrated on the final layer to avoid overcooking the earlier ones. And then remove the carrier sheet when it's still a little warm. When you're all done, flip the shirt over, put butcher paper underneath and above it, and press the entire design for 15 seconds to help any wrinkles in the vinyl layers relax. Step 4, show it off. Here's the result when you finish your new vinyl t-shirt without making any mistakes. HTV isn't quite as intimidating now, is it? If you're still nervous, don't worry. Confidence comes with practice, especially when it comes to aligning layers and pressing vinyl just right. And that brings me to HTV mistake number 21, our last mistake to avoid. Don't wash your HTV shirt right away. Let the vinyl sit for at least 24 hours to cure. Then wash your shirt inside out and don't use any bleach. And you can use this process to make other designs, of course. Remember, there are 2 other designs in the free download, a slice of pizza and a taco. You can use the same process to prepare and press these to have the full set. So there you go. Now, you'll never make any mistakes ever again, right? Well, no, probably not. And that is okay. Mistakes are natural and it's all part of the learning process. If you ever need help or you have a great tip to share, come let us know in our Cricut Crafters group at JenniferMaker.com/CricketCrafters. Or let us know below this video. We want to hear from you. And please come share photos of your shirts too. We love to see what you make. And of course, if you want to pick up a copy of the HTV cookbook with all the times, temperatures, and pressures for all the different vinyls and all the different things that you can put it onto, you can get one at htvcookbook.com. And that's it for today. Until tomorrow, this is Jennifer Maker reminding you to craft a life you love.